headline screams of modern-day David and Goliath, but one where David, in a fit of pique, throws a pebble at a skyscraper. In March 2020, the world watched a bizarre and alarming maritime incident unfold in the Caribbean Sea. The RCGS Resolute, a massive ice-class cruise ship converted into a floating hotel, was rammed by a Venezuelan Navy vessel, the offshore patrol boat Naiguatá. The initial, triumphant reports from Caracas painted a picture of heroic defense against a piratical aggressor. The reality, as it almost always does, tells a far more complex and damning story. One of desperation, miscalculation, and a staggering, self-inflicted defeat that serves as a perfect metaphor for a nation in collapse. The stage for this confrontation was not a busy shipping lane or a contested strait, but the serene, isolated waters near La Tortuga Island, a Venezuelan dependency. The RCGS Resolute was adrift, conducting what its operators, German company RCGS, stated was routine maintenance on its engines, a floating behemoth at 122 meters long, built to withstand the crushing pressure of polar ice. It was the antithesis of a threat. The Naiguatá, at 80 meters, was smaller, more agile, and, crucially, armed. The initial radio contact, as reported by both sides, set the tone for the disaster to come. The Venezuelan crew, likely young conscripts operating under strict and perhaps desperate orders, demanded the Resolute follow them to a Venezuelan port. The cruise ship's captain, adhering to international maritime law and company policy, refused. His vessel was in international waters. He had committed no crime. This refusal to sovereign command from a nation whose sovereignty was fraying at the edges appears to have been an intolerable insult. What happened next was not a classic naval engagement, but a tragic-comic display of incompetence. The official Venezuelan version claims the Resolute behaved aggressively, intentionally ramming the Naiguatá and causing it to sink. The evidence, however, points in the opposite direction. A video that later surfaced tells the true tale. It shows the Naiguatá maneuvering dangerously close to the stationary cruise ship, then turning sharply and accelerating directly into its hull. The sound of tearing metal is audible. It was not an attack. It was a maritime suicide. The Resolute, with its ice-strengthened bow designed to pulverize multi-year ice, barely felt the impact. For the Naiguatá, it was a death blow. The patrol boat began taking on water, its crew forced to abandon ship. In a final, humiliating twist, the very vessel they had tried to commandeer became their lifeline. The Resolute, fulfilling its legal and humanitarian obligation, remained on scene for an hour, safely recovering the 44 Venezuelan sailors from the water. Having saved their would-be captors, the cruise ship then simply sailed away, its white hull scarred but structurally sound, to the nearby Dutch territory of Curaçao. The incident was a big mistake, not because it was an accidental bump, but because it was a catastrophic strategic blunder on every conceivable level. 1. The geopolitical mistake. At a time when the regime